So let's go ahead and jump into the first question, which is, what are your go-to one-shots? And I try to make sure that I match, like I said, I try to match what I want to play, what I find fun to run, and then what do I think other people want to play or that's going to be for them as far as, are they new to a new RPG? Are they new to Dungeons & Dragons 5e? Are they new to whatever it is they're new to that I think will be engaging to them? And then it's got to be a match for me, because why run something that you hate, that you hate running, for other people who may or may not like it. But I think you have to love your system first. You have to love the game that you love first. So otherwise you're not going to enjoy it. You're just going to go through it and not think it's great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys and show you kind of some of what my go-to ones are. As far as my one-shots go, I'll go over here to Roll20 and share them with you over here on my Roll20. Now, some of these are fairly new. I just recently, one of the freebies for April, which I'm really excited that they put up here, was Sly Flourish has Fantastic Layers, it's called. Let's go ahead and just click on the one that I think I'm going to talk about here. Let's view all games here. And I like Roll20. I know there's a lot of people that prefer Foundry. It's a learning curve for me. So for me, it's not, I like Roll20. And I think they're going to up their game. I think they have enough money, and I think they have enough tech, and I think they have and I don't know this, but somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems that Roll20 is a larger company than maybe Foundry, and it can maybe afford more things or throw more people at whatever they're doing. And I suspect because the Wizards of the Coast VTT is going to be going up, then all when somebody comes out with something brand new like that, I think stuff like that makes all boats rise. And so people have to then either and I don't mean they have to create a 3D something like what Wizards is doing. I think they have to create something that is unique, something that they already have, and just they're making that better. And so let me go ahead and go through here. Fantastic Layers, which I think all of the Fantastic Layers, the low-level stuff like Lair of Lord Whiskers, and this is the one here. This is my one of my go-tos as far as a starter adventure for 5th edition. It is a second level adventure, and I made this over here over on Canva, and I put a couple of pictures in there of just because the temple, spoilers alert, if you don't want to know anything about this adventure, if you think you're going to play it someday, then don't turn it off. Just go away for a little while. I'm going to show you the maps. I'm going to show you some things. If you say, Paul, I'd like to run this, well, then stick around and I'm going to show you all that. So, I'm just giving you the warning of what I'm doing here and what I'm going to be sharing, that there are spoilers here as far as that goes. So if you are interested in that at all, in playing it all, don't watch this. Okay, you have been duly warned. So I made this because the temple here, the Temple of the Centipede cult, is an old temple dedicated to Asmodeus. There's a combination of things happening. I've run this a couple of different ways, and it is really interesting because my players give me so much to work with. And sometimes it's just an idea I have, and sometimes it's just like a wow moment. Every time I run it, I come up with something new. And Sly Flourish, Mike Shea, who is Sly Flourish, did all these fantastic layers. And I think this is a second level adventure. Let me go ahead and jump in here real quick and just kind of show you what I really like about it. And that's why, by the way, I have the centipedes. I wanted the centipedes because I knew I was going to do these live games. And so these centipedes come in really handy. And I have some other really even smaller ones because then you scale, right? You find a little one that you can beat up maybe and do just toss away. And then you got another bigger size one that you got to deal with. And then finally, in one of my games, this guy's name was Bruce. This big guy was named Bruce. We called him Bruce. And so anyway, um, so as Roll20 is loading here, it's going to show you the maps, all that kind of good stuff that is in here. And I'll just show you, it's because it's a one map, it's a layer. That's what these are. But what I enjoy is that I created my own story on the front end as far as how they get here. Usually it starts with a sheriff giving a speech, and it's a election year, and he's got to solve this problem of missing people. And then eventually, like in one case, in one adventure, I had a market where people went and checked out the market. And then there's another group that went around and checked with all the townspeople. So this little adventure has tons of threads that have been made up. There's a library. There's lots of stuff. There's things that I have here that are just really, really fun. And so you can see here, this particular, let me go ahead and see if I can go ahead and decrease it for you. You can see the whole map. But it's just, like I said, it's just, the layer is just one location, but it has 3 or 4 different rooms to it that is a contained area. The other stuff you're going to have to make up. Like I said, made up my own stuff. And the other reason I needed the centipedes is because I needed the different rooms, right? I needed the centipedes for the different rooms they're going to go into. And so as you can see here, you can go off. There's a little, there's a little hallway over here that they can go down to get into the bigger room. This room here has some statues in it that if they step on this thing, that's going to come alive. Then there's a room right over here that if they come over here, then they got to deal with some cultists in this room over here. So there's enough going on. And usually the people that are missing, they have names. I have a little sheet that I use with them. But that's just one of the go-to adventures that I have because there's a lot to do there. There's really, it's a go find these people. There's lots of role play. There's expanding the horizon because it's a temple of Asmodeus. Yes, there's centipedes. And they say, Paul, what does centipedes have to do with Asmodeus? Well, in one adventure, I went ahead and had Asmodeus kind of get inside the mind of the centipedes, which Asmodeus used and all his power to find the most simplest man in town to be able to warp his mind so that he could come back to the temple of Asmodeus and raise him up to where he could go from, a small centipede to a bigger centipede to then raising him up and then actually coming out of the centipede into our world. And that's really the big danger. They don't fight Asmodeus. At least, everybody has stopped it up to that point. Nobody has not stopped and killed the centipede and taken the people and so forth. So I'd be interested to find out what happens if Asmodeus escapes from the centipede, if that's what that happens. So